So Big Brother's watching you. You know, that's a phrase that we do not take seriously anymore, right? I mean, it's kind of the conspiracy theorist, motto, slogan. It's what you would imagine somebody who says that's wearing a tinfoil hat, and I can assure you that I do not have one on today. We don't take it seriously, even though we know it's true. We all know that we're being surveilled. We know that we're being watched. We know that the government is listening to our phone calls. We know that the government is spying on us. Edward Snowden's recent revelations have revealed exactly what they're doing. And, of course, the phrase Big Brother is watching you specifically, of course, that came from George Orwell's book, 1984, which he wrote in 1949. 1949. I have to say, first and foremost, that I'm ashamed that I really didn't read that book. I never read that book until recently. And as of right now, I'm actually about halfway through it, and I cannot believe the similarities to what we see today. Orwell envisioned a world where we have absolutely no privacy. He imagined a world where our government can literally peer into our homes and oversee everything that we do. A world where the government spies on its people. He envisioned a world where the government uses impending threats from a constant state of war to control its people, where words are literally removed from the language in order to control thought. A world where even thought can be a crime, where the news is controlled by the government, and it's also retroactively corrected and retracted in order to meet whatever the government chooses, whatever narrative that they want to actually portray. It's a world where the people fear their government more than the government fears the people. And the scary thing is, we are so close to being there right now. We're inching further and further towards that. We got a caller on the line. His name is Sam. He wants to talk a little bit about the surveillance state. Are you there, Sam?
Yeah, yes, I am, Mack. Great to talk to you.
Great to talk to you too. What's on your mind?
I've had a couple questions for a while now about the surveillance state. It's something that I think all conservatives now are really worried about with the surveillance state and with the police build-up and whatnot. But my big question, is, we also have this, we're also living in a world post 9/11 where terrorism is a big concern. And one thing that I've always asked people who are leader of the police state and the surveillance state is, how do we keep ourselves safe from terrorists on a national level while still maintaining privacy? I'm open to hearing ideas, because I still think we need to maintain strong national security, but yet we need to also maintain our privacy too. So how would you go about doing that?
And that's a definite concern, and this is the justification for the expanding police state. And as I was talking about before, we're in a perpetual state of war right now. And this is similar to 1984, where they were constantly at war with either Eurasia or East Eurasia, depending on whatever narrative they were going after. It was a perpetual, never-ending state of war that all three countries knew that they had to continue in order to control their population, okay? And without giving any kind of spoilers here as far as the book itself, we are in that war right now. We are in a never-ending state of war. We'll always be at war with terrorism because it's not a country. We can't win it. You can never win the war against terrorism. You'll never kill every terrorist. So the ultimate question is, what is more valuable, okay? Is it your safety and security, or is it your individual liberty? Because, and I know anybody who's listened to this show before has heard me say hundreds of times probably by now, Ben Franklin's quote, "Those who would sacrifice liberty for security, deserve neither and will lose both. And it's absolutely true. And though I understand your concern, and I definitely do think that we need to take steps to secure our borders, to make sure that outside threats don't come into our country. What do we see now? What are we seeing every day now? Now more so, are we focusing on the outside threats coming in, Sam? Do you think that we're securing our border and preventing those outside threats from even coming here, or are we turning this Leviathan onto our own population? What do you think?
I don't even think we're fighting the war on terror anymore. In terms of the Obama administration, we're moving towards the end of the Bush administration. I'm all for covert operations and black ops against Al-Qaeda and other foreign terrorist cells. However, like I said, we're not fighting the war on terror anymore. And what's really disturbing to me is the fact that this government now finds Tea Partiers more threatening than radical Islamic jihadists who have decried America and would be willing to suicide bomb themselves in order to proclaim a jihad. And yet the Tea Party is somehow more threatening. I just don't. It's incomprehensible how we are more of a threat than radical Islam is. That's my big problem with the government now.
Let's look at the actual culture now. The culture is shifting here in terms of who is terrorist, who could be potential terrorists. There's a game out now by the same people who made Battlefield. I believe it's Battlefield something. I can't remember what it's called now, but the actual terrorists involved in this game are Tea Partiers. And there's one part in the game where these guys, this force that's going to stop the terrorists, they kick in the door and they see that the guy had in his room a Gadsden flag, the "Don't Tread on Me" flag, and they're saying, "Oh, look what this guy's caught up in," and it's all an attempt to kind of shift people to what the government feels the threat is, and you're absolutely right. The shift is not Islam, or we're not concerned about radical Islam or terrorists or anything. Now the shift has now become the people. The people are now more of a threat to the government because the government recognizes that it's okay. It's actually a good thing for them to have this threat of terrorism out there. And now we need to focus the enemy on the real people that are a threat to us, our political power, and it's the people. That's why you see gun owners being attacked in the media. That's why you see Tea Parties being attacked in the media. This is all just a statist growing of the federal Leviathan right now. And I have to point out that in terms of safety, you have a far more of a chance of being killed by a police officer than you do being killed by a terrorist. So we have turned this system against what we had created it for. We initially created all of this to protect us, to keep us safe from these terrorists. Although now we have our borders that are flooding in illegal immigrants. We have who knows who's coming in the areas where we don't have any kind of surveillance or we don't have any people there. And these terrorists, they know. They're working with the cartels. The cartels know where the gaps are, and people are just pouring over and saturating the border here with bodies. Basically, it's a flood of human beings that are coming across, and it's taking away resources to protect us from the bad guys who are actually coming in. And now, we're seeing this machine. We're being spied on by it. We're seeing the government tell us that Americans are the enemies. Up is down, black is white, everything is backwards now, and it doesn't make sense.
Let me see your ID.
Am I being detained right now, officer?
Huh? Let me see your ID.
No, thank you.
What's that?
No, thank you.
No, thank you?
No, thank you.
Okay, why are you saying no, thank you?
Okay. What's your badge number?
1382.
And your name?
Devlin.
Cheers.
1375.
Name? This bag is very versatile. It can be very small or it can be very, very large. This bag can actually hold like over 100 pounds of gear.